Hello, everyone, and welcome to Media's SourceForge Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Bo Hamilton, Senior Editor and Multimedia Producer here at Slashdot and SourceForge, the world's most visited software comparison site where B2B software buyers compare and find business software solutions. Today's guest is Matt Hastings, the Vice President and Product Management at NinjaOne. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Thanks, Bo, and thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, of course. It's a pleasure to have you. Now, I just want to jump right into this. So the technical description I have of NinjaOne is that it's an all-in-one IT platform that provides IT departments and service providers with endpoint management and security solutions. That's a little bit wordy and technical. So could you kind of break that down for us and give us just a high-level overview of your company?
Yeah, I'd say, the first thing to think about NinjaOne is our focus is on our customers. And for us, we really help our customers focus on what matters most to them by automating and simplifying, the endpoint management processes for them. So our technology is really built with our customers in mind first. And I'll give you some examples of kind of how that comes into fruition kind of throughout the conversation. But we see that as well as a combined market opportunity with, how the state of the IT industry is kind of moving in terms of moving from a very centralized, structured process and technology stack to much more decentralized trends that we've been seeing over the last couple of years. We see a huge opportunity for someone like Ninja to come in and help customers efficiently, manage and secure their devices while remaining focused on what matters most to their business.
How have you seen the nature of work and workforce change over the last decade, especially just in the last, few years since the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, you may not be able to tell over video or audio for those listening in, but my uh, my patchy hairline as it's going means I've been in this industry for quite a while. And I remember, when I first joined the IT workforce, everything was done in office. Everybody was expected to be at their desk. Everything was done on premise through data centers owned by the company, or you're logging in via VPN. Everything in that sense was very centralized to the corporate structure. So everything was done within the perimeter. Since then, we've seen the explosion of SaaS applications, public cloud infrastructure, which have really pushed what I'm calling the decentralized trend of IT kind of forward. And then that exploded during COVID. Obviously, folks that were kind of dipping their toe into the water with this decentralized trend, moved much faster during the pandemic. And there's real positive trade-offs to doing that. The first being employees can be more productive in that they're available 24 hours a day. They can get their work done anywhere they are. That's the positive. The downside of some of these trends is that from an IT administrator's perspective, you now have a completely decentralized view of how to manage and secure your devices, users, and data. And that's much harder to do. And so while there are some positive operational trade-offs, you also have some downsides to these trends as well. And that's certainly what we've been seeing.
Yeah, yeah. When it comes to that, the endpoint management solution you guys offer, and that is for those listening, that is to say the managing and securing of all the devices connected to an organization's network. What would you say are some of the biggest hurdles that organizations run into when they're trying to put together a strategy of securing these devices?
Yeah, I mean, I think the very first one, and kind of very simply, they just don't have the devices. They don't have visibility into the devices their users are using themselves.
Mm.
One of the first questions you could ask is tell me all the devices that exist in your network. Where are they connected? Who are they connecting to? And very few organizations are going to have a great answer for that. I come from the security and incident response space, and one of the most common reasons for a breach is not necessarily because a machine was exploited by a 0-day, but it was because it was either unknown, unmanaged, or was not in compliance, and therefore it was insecure and then resulted in a breach. So I think just the lack of visibility is the first thing that's typically problematic. The second is, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, is having a defined trade-off between operational and risk priorities. Understanding, what is the operational needs of the business and what risks do we need to allow or not allow. in order to put together the right priorities in place to make sure that things are running efficiently but also securely. And then finally, like having that, that control lever to be able to not only know what's out there, to know what your priority stack looks like, but then also efficiently go out and securely manage, patch up, those devices that your customers, your users are ultimately using.
Mm, right. Yeah. Security is paramount these days, especially with remote work. We're all sitting here remotely from around the world. We have our own devices. Um, it's so important for them to stay secure, right? And just make sure they're on top of all the latest patches, because it seems like every day there's a new patch or a new vulnerability and security breach, right? Um, Now, along with that, there's been an explosion in competitors in this space. What would you say for those companies out there shopping for an endpoint management platform? What do you think are the most important things they should look for to make sure it's the right fit?
Yeah, I mean, I would start with kind of fundamentals and kind of work your way up the stack. The first thing I'd think about is it a modern architecture that's going to grow with your business? Is it something that's cloud native, that's really scalable, that's going to grow with you and not have some of the trade-offs that come with, unscalable solutions? Like just starting from that, and then kind of going up around, how can you run this thing efficiently? What kind of automation can you put in place? What integrations exist so that you can efficiently use this thing as much as you can? Because there is a cost to anything you bring in house. You have to have people use it, you have to set them up, it has to be efficient. And so lowering that cost as much as you can is another one of those key indicators. And then the last one being, is it simple yet flexible? Is it simple enough that someone can start using it and getting value with it, within the first couple hours of turning it on? But is it also flexible enough to meet, unique needs of every business? So those are some of the key criteria that I would personally be looking for anytime I'd go to evaluate one of these technologies.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm excited to ask you here in a second about some of the automations and artificial intelligence you guys are incorporating. But could you just kind of elaborate on some of the um, tools and mechanisms you are employing to make it easier for companies to adopt your software? And what makes like your platform, what makes NinjaOne stand out from the rest?
Yeah, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, and I'll just reinforce it here. We are very focused on our customers. Everything we do is centered around our customer base, what they're saying, what they're telling us, the feedback they're giving us, and that resonates and kind of results in kind of two key areas of investment for us. The first, and that's something that I'm directly involved in, is our product roadmap. So NinjaOne has a public product roadmap that's informed by all of our customers, that we take in all of the feedback from all of the thousands of folks who use us, and then build a roadmap that then we execute against. Um, One of my favorite anecdotes, and this is outside of NinjaOne, is if you're familiar with the software company Figma. Um,
Mm,
One of the great stories there is like the CEO of Figma is known to go in and read Zendesk tickets to get a sense of what his customers are submitting tickets about or asking questions about, to better help inform that company's roadmap. And that's the CEO. I don't
mm.
want to say we do exactly the same thing, but NinjaOne has a very similar culture in terms of understanding the pulse of our customers and making sure we are building the products that they are asking us and giving us feedback about. The second part, that we really invest heavily in is our customer support. So, we tend to invest 2 to 4 times more into customer support than your average B2B SaaS company. And that's because we believe that providing that high level of support, helping customers get off the ground quickly, not only helps them become, more efficient at using our product and more efficient at running their own businesses, but they're better long-term customers for Ninja.
That's huge. Customer service is paramount. Like it makes me think of I recently got solar panels for my home, and when I was like evaluating different companies, one of the main things was just figuring out which company excelled in customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and kind of how that compares to the price breakdown, how much they charge for panels, installation, etc. Because that definitely factored in. You don't want something that's going to be on your roof or you're going to be working with for a decade or two to break down, and you're just going to be left with nothing.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you want someone who's going to answer the phone when you need something or when you call.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. So along with that, how does NinjaOne handle connecting with other tools and platforms? Because I know a lot of companies are really focused on integrating their tools and sort of consolidating their tech stack. So how does NinjaOne kind of keep up with these changes?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we kind of approach it in two ways. The first is, we just have a general automation strategy, which is for any process, for any workflow that we have in our platform, one of the first questions that we ask ourselves when we're building it is, how do we want to automate this as much as possible over time to make it as easy to set up, to easy to set it and forget it, but also know when something goes on. And then in terms of integration strategies, we kind of take both an internal and external approach. The internal approach is, how do we integrate with other key tools that our customers are using, say like ITSM products or PSA products, and making sure that we can directly integrate with those internally so that we can support the integrations our customers need. So they're not having to manually copy data from one place to the other or kind of manually build, middle layers. We want to remove that as much as possible. The second is external integrations, and that's empowering third parties who want to partner with Ninja to pull data from our platform to build their own processes and applications. And so we have a robust API set that other parties will use to also integrate with us. And so we kind of take that dual hat approach to both build our integration and automation strategy.
So now I'm going to ask you some AI questions. This is a topic that is kind of, I want to say it's overblown, but it's the talk of the town right now. Um, AI is changing the world in so many ways, and I know you mentioned you incorporate a lot of automation processes in your platform. So how do you see endpoint management kind of evolving because of artificial intelligence, and what is NinjaOne doing to keep up with these changes?
Yeah, I mean, as much as AI and what we've seen in the last, call it 16 months since ChatGPT first got demoed, as a huge leap forward, which it is, it's also a natural progression of kind of where we've been moving for a long time. From algorithmic automations to machine learning, now to AI-driven workflows. A lot of this comes down to how do you make better decisions faster. And so in many cases, I look at AI as a big productivity or efficiency boost. Whether that's software companies using AI internally to help them build better code faster or test it for bugs to make sure that QA is of high quality, or on the endpoint management side, how are IT administrators more quickly diagnosing problems, solving them, problems being automatically surfaced to them. AI is a main driver in helping to solve those challenges. And so anytime where you can take, large structured or unstructured data sets and get trending analysis or summaries, like that's a great example of where AI can step in and help, what would someone then do with a spreadsheet over a couple of days, do in a few minutes. And that's where we're looking to really unlock some of the opportunities with AI is around this whole concept around automation, around efficiency and productivity for our users, so that our administrators in Ninja can make better informed decisions for their end users and make sure that the employee experience remains high.
So yeah, you mentioned the efficiency and productivity gains. Do you see the incorporation of AI as a way of replacing any current labor force or any customer service representatives, or do you see it as like another tool to help expand your services?
I see it as an unlock. It's a huge
Yeah.
unlock. So, think about if I could give you 30% of your day back to go do something else, like what bounds could you push? What thing could you do next? How could you better secure your devices? How could you go and tackle the next problem that's been sitting on your to-do list? You know, it's not like saying like AI is going to solve everything. It's just going to allow you to go solve the next thing that you just haven't been able to get to. We see from IT administrators and budgets, it's not like they're growing at an exponential rate. If anything, they're staying the same or even shrinking a little bit. And so it's how do you get more from less or the same? And so AI is a huge opportunity to take your existing people and leverage them more efficiently to go after, additional problems that you just haven't been able to tackle in the past.
Mhm. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the fears from a customer facing standpoint is like, oh, everything's going to be automated. We're just going to have to be dealing with machines and talking to automated representatives. Um, how do you like how would you respond to that particular concern?
You know, I still think you're going to always have the human representative behind at some point, and I've seen
Mhm.
this, you see this in almost every technology revolution, right? Like when we moved from the horse-drawn carriage to the gas-powered car, there was this, well, what are we going to do with all of these people? Or is this going to go away? And like the answer is no, actually more jobs get created. People are able to then do more with the brain capacity that we have that can never be, replicated by AI. So do I think AI is going to be an unlock to help people, like you said, respond to help desk calls more efficiently by being able to say, hey, we looked at every help desk ticket that's ever been created in the last decade in this company. And based on what this person is saying, we think you could respond in this way, or we think you could resolve this issue in this way. And that's a much faster resolution that a human can deliver to another human, but it's all powered by, AI processes and data fueled by AI.
That makes that's definitely reassuring because I feel like when you don't know what's ahead, naturally you kind of you're fearful. Change is scary.
Oh yeah.
Um,
For sure,
you
change is
know,
scary. I mean, like, I'm scared of change all the time, but it's also exciting.
right?
The opportunity to get to do something new or to be able to solve things you haven't been able to solve before is a really exciting. And frankly, like you said, it can be scary at times because you don't know exactly how things are going to turn out. And we're
Mhm.
definitely in that don't know phase right now when it comes to AI.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that there's going to be naturally a little. I mean, naturally there's pushback, but I also think that there's going to be kind of um, a growing trend around like human customer service representatives, human created content media. Um, not so much I think applicable to the tech IT platform that you guys offer, but just kind of just an interesting observation I think, and that's coming from someone who's covers a lot of the current events and the developments on the
Mm-hmm.
surface level. Yeah, so it's just an interesting space to keep an eye on. And there's so many players involved working on this technology. Do you guys see yourselves developing AI in house, or are you partnering with some of these other companies? I think like OpenAI or Anthropic or Google.
It's definitely one where I would say we're going to take a crawl, walk, run approach, where leveraging the expertise of third parties that we choose to work with versus building our own is certainly something that we look at whenever we talk about bringing something new to market. Um, exactly how it gets implemented, is TBD. As you know, like there's lots of ways that you can use AI from the infrastructure providers up until like you said, Chat GPT 4. My guess is
Mhm.
we take some type of middle ground approach where we can use AI both internally and externally to fuel not only our customers but also the efficiencies of our own employees.
Mm. Right, and you want to see what works, what doesn't, and make changes accordingly, right? You don't want to
Exactly.
rush something out and then find out it just isn't working, and then you hurt the end user experience.
Yeah, I mean, we've
Makes
seen,
sense.
very public examples recently of, AI products coming to market and being just wrong and giving wrong advice and just being and having a lot of backlash. And that's, in consumer space. In the business
Yeah.
space, doing that can cause, catastrophic harm. And so that's something that we're very aware of and something we're very cautious about whenever we roll out any kind of feature. Think about the implication of being wrong on something and causing someone to do something that does take down a network or causes operational harm. We would never want to do that. And so that's why you'll see us roll things out very carefully and with purpose, after we've had enough time to be comfortable and confident in the functionality.
That makes sense. Yeah, because it's like if you have a customer facing AI that tells you to put glue on your pizza, um, for that's one thing I think people can figure out. That's probably not the most wise solution there. But if you have like an AI telling a business incorrect information about how to secure their network, that could lead to whole much bigger implications, right?
Exactly.
Now, I think also incorporating AI is a competitive advantage. You kind of are forced to incorporate it to some degree just to stay relevant and again competitive. What would you say is some of the ways NinjaOne is doing to stay ahead and just stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, so the couple that we mentioned around just really being zealots about customer success and our customer feedback and making sure that drives our roadmap is probably one of the first ones. The second one I
Mhm.
touched on is really around automation and efficiencies. And then the third is ultimately about product investment and investing in our products such that we can both improve our existing products, but also continue to build new products and meet our customers where they're going. And so that they can continue to have, a single pane of glass for IT visibility, management, and security for all of their different device types, users, and data. Ultimately, that's where we're making lots of investments in how we continue to differentiate.
Thanks for sharing that. I know you mentioned some of these things, but I want to kind of continue to have you reiterate, because I think that the whole reason this podcast, is just to help kind of shed a light on NinjaOne, what you guys are doing, and how you guys are helping businesses. So, and one more kind of question along those lines: if you had to boil down just one key takeaway for potential customers about IT operations management, what would you say that would be?
The key takeaway is that job, because of the trends we talked about earlier, is not getting easier for many people. In fact, it's getting harder. And NinjaOne's mission and our goal is to help make that as easy and efficient as possible by automating the process by which endpoints are managed and secured. And so for us, that's really our North Star and what we think about whenever we go to build a new feature or to work with an existing customer. We need to understand where their problems are, what they're trying to achieve, and help them do that as efficiently and automatically as possible.
Now, for those of our listeners listening wanting to learn more about NinjaOne or get in touch with you and your team, where would you direct them? Where should they go online, and what's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, I'd say, honestly, we're pretty simple. The best way to get in touch with us is just go to our website,
Yeah.
ninjaone.com. From there, you can get access to a number of different resources. You can request demos. You can, sign up for trials. So go to our website and get in touch with us. We'd love to talk to you.
NinjaOne.com. All right, that's easy enough, straightforward enough. Well, thank you so much for your time, Matt. This has been really insightful, and I hope our listeners got something out of this. We really hope to have you back one of these days.
Really appreciate you having me, Bo. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. All right. Well, thank you guys all for listening to the Slash.media video podcast. I'm your host, Bo HD. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all of the upcoming B2B software related podcasts, and I will talk to you in the next one. Thanks again, Matt.
See ya.